Thank you for joining us. Could you tell us from your end what are farmers saying to you about the impact this rain and flooding has had on crops?
Well, certainly it's made life very difficult for them. Cultivation, of course, those who have been cultivating, they cannot get in the fields, especially those that are waterlogged. I just want to say, though, that it is not even throughout Barbados, but there have been difficulties, especially when it comes to some crops. They just cannot, produce the quantities that Barbadians would expect at this point in time.
Which crops will be more so impacted by the rainfall and the flooding?
Well, certainly we know that sweet potatoes, there have been a challenge with that recently, and the prices have reflected what the challenge is in that there's a scarcity, so, the prices will adjust to suit. Also, for instance, you know that herbs is something that, this year has been especially difficult for them. First, the heat, now this rainfall, it has been a very difficult time. Soil temperatures too have also been high. Lettuce, that is something. Squash has not been as plentiful as they should be. Well, pumpkins is usually a crop that is pretty hardy, so that has not. I think that even if there isn't a lot growing right now, I think there's a lot in storage at this point in time. So, these are the kind of things that you find that you will have problems with.
Let's talk about the economics of agriculture. Where there's a demand and there's a shortage in supply, we know what that means. So what can you say to Barbadians tonight about the expectation of changes in prices?
Well, it all depends on what we can do the next few weeks before Christmas. If the weather is not bad in some areas, because remember, even today, you found that yes, rain was falling in some areas. St. Thomas had pretty heavy rainfall. But sometimes, depending on the situation, the drainage is quite good. So some farmers are able to do something despite the rainfall. And if that could happen, we could find that some areas will be able to produce adequate quantities to satisfy consumers. So it will be reflected in the prices at the same time.
You called the word Christmas, and Christmas is getting closer and closer. Naturally, there will be people purchasing more and more eggs. We heard today about an egg shortage. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, there isn't any shortage. I would want to say that we have moved to ensure that Barbadian consumers do not suffer as a result of any egg shortage. What we do, for instance, is that there was one, and just be frank with you, there was one producer who had a problem, and we have moved to ensure that even if that producer has a problem, that the market in itself will not be short. So I don't think consumers in this regard have to worry.
Well, that sounds like good news. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Paul James Paul, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, too.